Hello and welcome back. Up until this moment, I was flying most of the available faction cruisers, still waiting for the Stratus and for the Orthus to be available. I hope that they add these ships soon. Now, the Ashimmu is known as the vampire in this game. It has very lethal bonuses on webs, neutralizers and Nosferatus, which makes the ship excel at PvP. Of course, you can use the ship for storylines, but the bonuses for this ship are mostly suited for PvP, and this might be my main PvP ship in the future. Now onto the ship's attributes. The Ashimmu is generally a smaller faction cruiser, at least if we compare it to the Cinnabal and to the Phantasm. It has a very interesting color pattern, and I like the Blood Raider signature there. Overall, a good looking ship, at least it looks better than the Cinnabal. Cinnabal is known to be the ugliest ship in the game. Of course, it is also my favorite. Roll bonus minus 100% energy Nosferatu overall penalty, which means you can suck ships dry, literally, with the Ashimmu. Advanced electronic warfare bonus pro will give you plus 15% energy Nosferatu efficiency, plus 15% energy neutralizer strength, plus 20% status warfare optimal range, which are skills and bonuses that are mostly oriented for PvP. And the advanced cruiser command bonus per level will give you plus 12% medium laser damage and plus 7.5% medium laser tracking speed. Again, those skills and bonuses are going to be mostly efficient for PvP. Of course, they have their uses for PvE too. And well, time to hop on to the attributes and fittings, but so far might be one of my favorite bonuses. Ship has 1 drone, 5 high slots, 4 medium slots, 4 low slots, 3 combat rigs and 3 engineering rigs. Overall, it has good defense. It has quite a bit of armor. Blood Raiders are known to have very good armors, but the ship can have a shield tank as well. In my case, my shield skills are a little bit better than my armor skills, and I'll maintain a shield tank fit for the Ashimmu at the moment. We'll of course test out the armor tank fit once I have the skills amped up. And of course the other stats are generally very good. 90 meter signature radius. Interesting. Okay, and the ship is also a little bit slower, on the slow side, so that might be also one of the things to look out for. Now on to the fittings. Well, currently I have 628.38 DPS. Doesn't appear to be much, but it will be improved. C-type medium pulse lasers. Now I had the idea to use beam lasers for PvP, and I'll explain what I mean on that in a moment, but at the moment I'm using the pulse lasers. 1 web, 1 disruptor, 1 large Nosferatu, 1 medium Nosferatu. In the low slot, 1 afterburner, the dual hardeners and 1 shield booster. Now I eventually want to fit a large shield booster. At the moment I lack power grid to do that. I have to increase the skills to increase that. As for the rigs, a dual burst and 1 collision accelerator to increase the DPS and damage, dual power grid rigs and 1 auxiliary thruster, which is generally a fit that I like for the Ashimmu. In order to fit the 2 large modules, I have to get a lot more power grid, and I have to increase the cruiser. I think the cruiser engineer skills to increase the power grid, which is currently skilling. And once I actually get the skills back for that, I will swap the medium shield booster for a large booster. Now for PvP, instead of the medium Nosferatu, I will put a neutralizer. Should be very effective against frigates and of course destroyers, and particularly against literally any other ship that gets close to. The large Nosferatu has a nice 20-kilometer range, and this Destructor has nice 30-kilometer range. So technically, with the web, with the bonuses, I can fit beam cannons, beam lasers, and I can keep the target at 20 kilometers away from me, and I should be safe from any ships that have a close range fit. So I have two options to go with the ship, especially for PvP, and I will explore both of them. Of course, once I get that large shield booster fitted on the ship. Now let me just get my Predator web. There we go. That should do it. You can fit a MVD if you like, although I prefer to have a afterburner. MVD could be good if you're aiming for PvP for a brawling type of, well, for brawling type of range. But for storyline missions, I will use a afterburner. Pretty much a very similar fit and very similar idea to the Cinnabal. Of course, there we go, you can see how much power grid I need. I need at least 350 power grid to fit the large C-type. That means I have a lot of skilling to do. Shouldn't take too long actually. Should get the skills in less than a week. So that's one of the issues that I face. Not too bad. The medium shield booster should do the job, but in the Cinnabella I have one large booster, and it would be nice to have one large booster in the ship as well. Now I can't even fit the Republic Fleet one, but that's fine. Like I said, skills are going to be completed, and once that happens, I'll be able to fit those large boosters. That means I'll have to go back and for now switch to the medium one. Okay, that should do it for now. Very good. As for the tactics, well, will be interesting to see how the ship will work. Definitely would feel a lot safer flying this ship for PvP than a Cinnabal, mostly because of the Nosferatus and neutralizers. Those are the beam lasers, 22-kilometer optimal range, which perfectly sits with the range of the Nosferatu and perfectly sits with the ranges of the webs and disruptors. So you can go for that type of fit if you want. It will work, it should work, and I might even swap the hardeners for the heatsinks to further improve the DPS, because most of the ships that you catch with this ship are not going anywhere. You have the advantage in the web range, you have the advantage in the capacitor, and you have the advantage in the weapons range. All of which make this ship very lethal and very deadly. Now of course, it's slow, so you have to cope with the slow velocity of the ship. It is nowhere near as fast as, for example, a Phantasm or a Cinnabal. And well, let's quickly demonstrate what the fit can do. Okay, everything is enabled. Now I can go onto the fitting menu and I can show you the active stats now. Still 628.38 DPS, not bad, it will be higher. The resistances are looking pretty good so far, and of course they can change with the incoming damage type. 606 seconds capacitor. Okay, well that's weird because, well, the Nostratus are not working, so that's why. Okay, that looks good. 919.68 meters per second. Well, it's definitely slower than the Cinnabal, a lot slower, but it is not that bad in the end. And now with the MVD and with the neutralizer, let's see, the DPS is the same, the defense is also roughly the same, roughly using the same hardeners. Capacitor is also around the same, and the velocity 1.9 kilometers per second. Not bad. Now this is the speed that I like, and it is tolerable. It should work as the Cinnabal for the roaming type of combat that I am known for. So will be very interesting to see how this ship will do for PvP. But for that I first have to wait out for some skills to be completed. And well, time to take the ship out for a spin to see how it will work. It's been a while since I flew a ship that uses lasers. The Phantasm had a accident a couple of months ago, so that ship is not anymore, not around anymore in my hangar. But who knows who's flying that ship at the moment? I sold it, so wherever that ship is, I hope that it is in good hands. Now, my laser skills are decent. I can, of course, further improve and further increase them. That is something that I have in plan to do. But so far, I am quite satisfied with the DPS output. The ship's velocity is also okay for this. For storylines, you should not have any problems even with this velocity. Again, Ashimmu isn't the fastest, but again, it is understandable because it has a lot of armor. It is actually a ship that I should go for a armor fit on because of the sheer volume. I'll do that, but first I had to test out the shield tank because it is very odd. Well, was weird for me to use a shield tank on a Blood Raider ship because they are known to have again very good armors. So far it seems to be working. Now, not quite sure what module uses more energy. I think it is, after all, skill dependent. But I think the shield boosters are using less energy than the armor repairers. Not quite sure about that. That's something that I came to from using both. The shield skills currently are, in my case, decent, almost maxed out. While on the armor skills I have to increase I think the expert skills, or I have to actually finish up with some advanced skills first before I go on to the expert skills. That is mostly due to me flying ships that are mostly reliant on shield tanks. Cinnabal can do both, but in the end I still prefer the shield tank. It suits the current way of current way of how I play the game. So that's why the shield was focused. Now, the lasers mainly do EM damage and thermal damage. They do a lot of EM damage, but the damage drops dramatically once you hit armor, because on armor you will do thermal damage. Not quite a big problem. It is something that you should just keep a note of. Lasers love shields. They melt shields without a problem. So any shield tank ship will be in trouble if it were attacked by an Ashimmu. But armor tanked ships should have a little bit more luck because they should have a lot more resistance on thermal, keeping in mind that lasers drop damage once they hit armor due to the lower thermal damage output. In the end, if you use beam lasers, then you will melt ships from a safe distance. If you use pulse lasers, you can orbit at 10 kilometers, which again is still a good range. Now I would orbit just a little bit outside of the web range, just to be safe. In the end, I don't want to get shot by a Cinnabal that has 2000 DPS. Although I shouldn't be worried about Cinnabalas a lot, because this ship should technically outperform one in PvP. I am still going to be very cautious around them. In my case, the ship is highly lethal, so who knows, there are other Cinnabal pilots out there that have their ships built to be more lethal. So being cautious is always a good thing if you are hunting these ships, which I will do with one of these, mostly because I feel safe with the 30 kilometer web range. the web bonus, the web range bonus, is I think the sole thing that makes this ship this lethal, and the Nosferatu and Neutralizer skills are secondary. The web can make you catch frigates, pretty much older ships, at safe distance. Web them before they can web you. That way they lose speed, they lose maneuverability, while you can keep that, and of course on top of that you add Nosferatus and Neutralizers to make your target's life more miserable, and then you pretty much have a target that can shoot back, or well, they can't shoot back but they can hit you, they can't run away, and their capacitor is going to go down slowly and painfully, which makes this ship very brutal, and slowly I'm starting to love that fact. So I am going to have a blast using this ship for PvP, although one thing that I'll definitely miss is the crazy DPS and the crazy speed. Cinnabal has, I think from all of the other faction cruisers, the Cinnabal has the highest DPS. On the second place there might be the Orthus or a Vigilant, and on the third place or fourth place is Ashimmu, and then Gila. So that's going to be, it's interesting. Of course, each ship has their own traits, their own advantages and disadvantages, and all that makes all of these ships very unique. Now, as you can see so far here, I'm doing these missions without a problem. It takes a little bit longer to clear, that's true. And the different DPS type, the different weapon, and of course different skills all add up to that. But it is doable. It is, well, a little bit different from the Cinnabal, although the capacitor is a lot more stable. And now I'm just thinking of if I shouldn't have, well, if I should have bought this ship in the first place instead of one Phantasm, because they're quite similar, but at the same time quite different. So kind of, debating these things at the moment in my head while recording, so my apologies for slowing down for a moment. As usual, keeping the frigates and destroyers at range, and orbiting cruisers and battlecruisers and battleships. Oh man, I think I might actually come up with something very fun with this ship. Things are about to be interesting for the PvP roams, especially because lately I've been chased a lot. Some talk about that a little bit. I was chased a lot lately. Seems like I don't know why though. Even when I'm like doing storylines, I just get a random, fleet invitation, and sometimes I accept just for fun, and a couple seconds later, I get few faction cruisers, just rolling in my storyline, and we chase around the site for a little bit. They can't catch me because I have the MVD in my PvE Cinnabal that goes 3.6 kilometers per second. So yeah, have fun chasing that. I'm now quite curious if people are going to jump me if I fly a Ashimmu, knowing that I can defend myself pretty well with one of these. So yeah, hopefully that will keep the pirates a little bit at bay, because let me tell ya, things were spicy in the last, in the last week, things were crazy. Couldn't even go into my old hunting spot without getting recognized, And well, I guess that's a thing. Once you pop out enough of these videos, people start to remember them, and well, they start to recognize you. Not a bad thing. Well, it is fun. Okay, what is this Raven doing? I should be hitting tier 9 in I don't know how many days. I've been on basic Omega for some time. Basically, you know, saving ISK for a lot of these ships, for a lot of these builds and fits and rigs. And I did miss on, I think, 2 months of dual Omega, which now reflects on the, well, reflects now onto the skill points needed to reach tier 9. But I'll get there, not a big deal, I'll get there. I just need to wait. 8,000 armor, oh my god, this thing has 5,000 shield, 8,000 armor, and I chose a shield tank. Oh man, not quite sure if I should go with a if I should go with a shield buffer rig. I think that might be a good idea, but I like my DPS, I like my rate of fire, so I should keep my current build. Should work. 5,000 shield is enough, especially with one large NOS and one Nut and one large shield booster. All of that should make the shield basically impenetrable. With the Nosferatus you can ensure very long shield boost cycles. In PvP you don't have to worry about your enemy having capacitor, because again this vampire will suck the capacitor dry, literally, and that's a good thing, because you don't have to worry about the enemy ship's tank. Once they lose energy, they lose the modules, and once they lose the modules, they lose the percentage, and they lose pretty much the ship. So I can definitely see why people did recommend me this ship for PvP so much, and well, finally got my hands on one of these. So as you know me, I like to do PvP a lot, and things will be fun. I can't wait for the skills to be completed, to roll out the Ashimmu for the solo PvP roams. It will be fun. It definitely will be fun. A very solid ship so far. I had fun to use it in storylines, in missions. Very good ship. Definitely a good contender, a good ship to compare it with the Cinnabar, or should I say you can compare the Cinnabar with this ship, because these two are currently my main ships in a way. I have literally 2 Cinnabars, one for PvP, one for storylines, because I just can't risk losing one, and you know, losing one ship to a silly mistake and then having no ship to do storylines with. So I have a duplicate Cinnabar. Will I go for a duplicate Ashimmu? Well, most likely not. This ship will be mostly only used for PvP, and so far it did pass this test. Kind of weird, you know. I'm someone who got used to fly fast ships, and this ship is not, well, it's slower than my previous ships, but it is not that slow. From my perspective though, it is, for my taste should I say, it is a little bit slower. Shouldn't be a problem for the webs, and I think its speed does balance things out a little bit, because the ship is not overpowered, meaning that other ships have a chance to counter it in a way. But in the end, it all depends from the player and from the player skills, and that's why one of the things that makes this game interesting. Well then, let's quickly shoot down that battlecruiser, and after that the video should go to a end. Surprisingly, the shield tank works, although I would feel a lot safer if I had a large shield booster. The medium shield booster does work quite well so far. No issues with the capacitor, no issues with the speed, no issues with the tank. A quite balanced out ship, quite a balanced outfit, and it should work for everything that you can throw at it. Now, how it will compare to the Orthus, that's going to be interesting. The Orthus has a similar skill layout, similar bonus layout, and once the ship gets available, I will fly it. Most likely will be my next faction ship, either the Orthus or the Stratius, one of these two, and eventually both of these will be in my collection, because, well, I like to fly these faction cruisers a lot. I am mostly a cruiser pilot. I have most fun flying a cruiser, although battleships are also quite interesting. Frigates are also fun. In my case, in my taste, should I say, I prefer cruisers. And there we go, that battleship went down. And on to the next target. And after the next target is down, then the mission should be completed. So far, so good. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed. This Ashimmu so far is very nice. I love it, and you can expect definitely a lot more from it. With that being said, stay safe, fly safe, and I'll see you next time.